Canada as we know it is at a major crossroads. Let me explain. In late November 2024, during a meeting at Mar-a-Lago between US President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Trump reportedly joked that if proposed tariffs weaken Canada's economy, perhaps Canada should become the 51st US state. Kind of funny, right? Well, right after that, Trump took to his social media network Truth and made a post saying, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all. DJT." What y'all think of my Trump impression? So then we thought, all right, maybe he's just roasting Trudeau. I mean, we all roast Trudeau, right? I mean, it is what it is. Then followed up with this. And this. And it eventually got to a point where we all started thinking, yo, it seems like he's serious. It got so serious, in fact, that a bunch of Canadian politicians had to chime in.
I know he likes making these comments and he likes joking around. I take that seriously.
He is a bully, and bullies understand one thing, that is strength. They also understand pain. So if he wants to pick a fight with Canada, we have to make sure it's clear that it's going to hurt Americans as well. There's going to be pain felt for not just Canadians, but also Americans.
When he did it during the dinner at Mar-a-Lago, the first time, he was smiling and it felt like a joke. No, I think that now it's becoming very counterproductive, and the joke is over.
You will have a friendly neighbor to the north, President Trump, but you will also be facing a free enterprise Canada that is open for business, that is going to be fighting for jobs and opportunity on this side of the border.
President Trump, who's a very skillful negotiator, is getting people to be somewhat distracted by that conversation, to take away from the conversation around 25% tariffs.
And while a lot of Canadians are tired of Justin Trudeau and maybe feel like Canada has changed for the worse, it does seem like the majority of people want to stay distinct from the US. But why? I mean, when you think about it, US culture is global. The term Americanization can be defined as the dominant role of the United States in other national and regional cultures, where cultural forms and practices are influenced by American brands and products. In fact, some argue that America's biggest export is their culture, and it's been that way for a while. And Canadians, we benefit from our proximity to this culture. When you think about it, our spoken English is a lot closer to theirs in comparison to England's or Australia's or Ireland's or Scotland's. And many of our athletes, artists, and intellectuals have been able to blend in seamlessly into their cultural ethos. However, our proximity and reliance on America's enterprise is a double-edged sword. Because we have convinced ourselves that the only way to truly make it is to make it in America, most of our talent eventually leaves, perhaps for good. While many cite the population difference and capitalistic opportunity in America as the reason, I think there's a deeper cultural issue at play. Because, let's face it, much of Canadian culture is focused around the consumption of American culture, perhaps more than any other country outside the US. I mean, don't get me wrong, countries all across the world, whether it's in Europe, Asia, Africa, the Caribbean, South America, Oceania, love American culture. It's the reason why it's so successful. But while they enjoy American culture, they also consume and cultivate their own culture as well, whether it be sports, music, film, television, etc. But us, I mean, we got the CFL, Canadian Football League, different size field, a lot of NFL rejects. We have some local shows, I guess. Shoresy, Corner Gas, Trailer Park Boys. But if we're being honest, we're probably more tapped into American culture than any other country in the world, besides America. And maybe it's because we feel like we contribute to American culture, despite our contribution being small in comparison to theirs. I think a good way to capture the relationship between Canada and America is this image right here. Now, I know what you're wondering. Drake's LeBron tattoo? Let me explain. Drake, who is Canadian, has always had a strong admiration for LeBron James, even getting a tattoo to display and commemorate how inspired Drake is by LeBron and their friendship. And LeBron is an American who, at one point, also seem to have a good friendly relationship with Drake, but not enough to get a tattoo of Drake. And eventually, LeBron betrayed Drake by supporting tracks dissing him by a fellow American, Kendrick Lamar. Now, maybe this is a reach, but for the purpose of this analogy, I think it makes sense. Canadians are only valuable to Americans insofar as they're popular in that moment. But because America has a larger pool of talent, as soon as something else dominates the zeitgeist, they're over us. On to the next one. But for us, every Canadian star and moment is kind of special. It's valuable to us because we don't have that same pool to choose from. A big part of Kendrick's Not Like Us' success is predicated on the distinction between us and them, or in our case, them and us. This moral emphasizes a harsh reality. Canadians, insofar as they participate in American culture, will always be seen as outsiders to American culture. Don't get me wrong, we have a few that blend in seamlessly, and their Canadian tokenism becomes a little charming addition to their overall image. But a lot of these individuals also ingrain themselves in American society, many of them eventually gaining American citizenship to take advantage of the opportunity in marketplace and tax benefits. A lot of it is because of taxes. But before I get to the crux of my argument, let me play you this video right here.
Okay, listen to this, right? America bans TikTok, right? It's gone from America. We could become the Americans for the rest of the world. We already have the same accent pretty much, right? This could be our time to shine. We just have to replace every big American creator with a Canadian.
Now, although us becoming the new America is really far-fetched, I think the essence of this message holds. It's time for us to start focusing on us. As in, don't worry about stuff that is non-Canadian.
But Zar, that's impossible.
Yes, I know it seems impossible, and it's not gonna happen overnight, but we have to start treating ourselves as our own entity with our own talent and our own style. We can't just keep trying to copy the US to impress the US in hopes to eventually relocate to the US. Maybe the reason why Canada doesn't have a strong culture is because all our cultural curators eventually leave. We don't stay here.
There isn't enough opportunity, not enough people, not enough money.
To be honest, I think there is. It's just a matter of active participation. There are plenty of people in other countries who are so into their own culture that they don't even care about American culture. They may consume it sparingly, focusing on big moments in news, sporting events, etc. But for the most part, they do their own thing. Look at Jamaica. Jamaica is a small island in the Caribbean who exports their culture all across the world, whether it's through diaspora or just straight up cultural influence. They enjoy their own music so much that they don't really have to care about American culture. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's crossover and influence as well, but you get my point. In other words, if Canadians were strong-minded enough to focus on prioritizing our own cultural productions, whether it be music, film, comedy, or art, then perhaps we'd be able to create economic momentum around it, cultivate more of it, and survive independently without the US. But what is Canadian culture? What is Canadian identity? Well, if we're being honest, that's up to us to decide. And everyone has to take on that responsibility, whether you're a creator or a consumer. But I do think we're turning a new leaf, with shows like Shoresy highlighting our hockey-based culture, and movies like Morningside highlighting the urban side of city life. We have different rappers and singers with their own unique sound which incorporate the Toronto slang, our own media personalities, whether it's corporate or social. But the question is, will we ever let go of our inferiority complex around American culture? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. Until next time.